You never used cocaine?
No, ma'am.
Why not?
It wasn't my type of drug. And I had an older sister that do it, and it just wasn't for me. He'll start tripping out on us and wanted to fight us and stab us and all kind of stuff.
Welcome to Get Your Life. Don't forget to like and subscribe.
Good morning. The
Good morning.
committee is called back to order. The time is 9:31. The members of the panel today are Ms. Bonnie Jackson, Mr. Pete Freeman. My name is Tony Marabella. I'll be chair of the case today. We're at our remote location today. Would the staff please introduce themselves?
Christy LeBlanc, classification.
Joe Buttress, Assistant Warden.
Carl Thomas, Assistant Warden in Security.
Thank you very much. We'll call our first case, Mr. James Clark. Mr. Clark, if you would please give me your full name and DOC number.
James Elway Clark, 52 56 56.
Mr. Clark, let me explain our process to you. First, I'm going to read some information into the record, and then the board will conduct a parole interview with you. At the end, you'll be allowed to make a brief statement before the board votes. Do you understand our process?
Yes, sir.
This is the matter of James E. Clark, DOC number 525656. Mr. Clark's date of birth is January the 17th of 1988. He's classified as a fourth felony offender. He has a parole eligibility date of March 26th of 2022, an adjusted good time date of March 25th, 2023, a full term date of September the 26th of 2029. He is currently serving a 10-year sentence for possession with intent to distribute cocaine, possession of a firearm by a convicted felon, and illegal use of a weapon. He was sentenced on those charges on December the 14th of 2020. Is that basically correct, Mr. Clark?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Clark, your case has been assigned to Ms. Bonnie Jackson. She will begin our interview process. Would you please answer any questions she may have?
Yes, sir.
Morning, Mr. Clark. How are you doing today?
I'm all right.
And how old are you, Mr. Clark?
34.
And how much time have you actually served on the current charge?
I've been locked down since October the 18th. No, October the 14th or 18th.
So 3.5 years?
Yes, ma'am.
You're classified as a third offender, is that correct, Mr. Clark?
I think I'm the fourth, right?
Short
I
change,
think,
fourth?
yes, ma'am.
Okay. You're right. Your mass prison record says fourth. And all of your prior convictions have been drug-related offenses, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And let's talk a little bit about that, Mr. Clark. You've had 3 previous periods of supervision. One of your supervision was revoked. One of them was terminated unsatisfactorily, and one was allowed to expire normally. And it seems that every time you were on parole or probation, you ended up getting new drug offenses. Is that correct?
I think I finished one of my paroles.
Understand that, but you would get arrested again for new drug offenses. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Explain to me why that is, why you continue to engage in primarily drug dealing activities.
Well, the way I was raised up, I ain't really have a lot, so that was the only way I can really just get stuff. So
Where were you living?
I was growing up in Pine Creek Apartments,
No, what city, sir?
Hammond, Louisiana.
Hammond?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. There weren't any job opportunities in Hammond or Baton Rouge?
Yes, ma'am.
Why didn't you get a legitimate job?
I don't know, ma'am.
Easier to sell drugs than to get a legitimate job? Is that what it was?
Well, since I had came to jail and got on the work release,
And I'm not there yet.
okay.
How much education, do you have? Did you complete high school?
No, I dropped out in the night
Can you read?
a little bit
How did you end up dropping out in the ninth grade?
because my mom ended up passing and I ain't had nobody to make me go to school, so I just dropped out.
Well, after your mother died, who did you live with?
My sister,
And how much older is your sister than you?
she like 40.
So she's about 6 years older than you?
Yes, ma'am.
And she ended up being the head of the family?
Yes, ma'am.
Prior to coming to prison, did you have any job skills? What kind of jobs had you had?
Well, before I came to jail, I was working at a horse farm in LaRonja,
And what'd you do on the horse farm?
clean stalls and feed horses and cows
And how long did you have that job?
for like a year.
All right. So over the last 3.5 years, have you had the opportunity, or first, did you have the opportunity to enroll in the GED class?
Yeah, I had kept writing them, but they kept telling me that DOC had to select the members for to go to the classes. They would never put me in there.
But you requested to be enrolled in GED classes?
Yes, ma'am.
Have you had a chance over the last 3.5 years to participate in any kind of classes?
No, ma'am.
You're hot and you weren't able to participate in any classes?
I just made it here. I've been here like 5 weeks.
Okay, where were you before?
I was in Tansville Parish.
All right, is that where you were on work release?
Yes, ma'am.
You have any classes for you in Tangible Parish?
They had some, but they would never put me in them.
Well, tell me how you got in the work release program.
The judge and the DA had signed me to the work release, well, the good time classes and the work release, but they told me I had to go to Stephen Hall program first before I can go to work release. But when my sister and them ended up trying to write them, see why they didn't send me to the Stephen Hall program, they ended up sending me to work release.
All right, so you wanted to go to Stephen Hoyle?
Yeah, I had wanted to go. Yes, ma'am.
Why did you want to go to Stephen Hoyle?
To better myself and get the year credit.
Do you use drugs?
I had smoked the weed when I was out.
Anything else?
No, ma'am.
You sure?
Yes, ma'am.
You were convicted of possession with intent to distribute cocaine. That's one of the charges you're in jail for now, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
You never used cocaine?
No, ma'am.
Why not?
It wasn't my type of drug. And I had an older sister that do it, and it just wasn't for me.
Okay, well, what was it? What happened to your older sister who did it?
She's doing pretty good now. The sister the one that,
But before then,
ma'am.
was your sister a cocaine addict?
Yes, ma'am.
And what did that look like?
It didn't look good.
How? Tell me how it didn't look good. What was going on with it?
She'll start tripping out on us and wanted to fight us and stab us and all kind of stuff.
And so even though you knew what cocaine could do to people, you still thought it was okay to sell it to people?
Well, not really, but that was the only way I can get money at the time.
Well, tell me how long you were in the transitional work release program. How long were you actually in that program?
Been up in work with like right at a year.
And what was your job? What did you do?
I went back to a horse farm because before I had got locked up, I was already working at a horse farm, so I went back.
Oh, weren't you working on a boat?
Yeah, but I was working at the horse farm first. Then they switched my job. Then they put me on the boat.
All right. How long were you on the boat?
Like 2 months.
And what was your job on the boat?
Tying barges and bringing them to the ship, tying them off.
Okay. And then there was an incident that happened on the boat. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Tell us what happened.
Well, we had went to the shipyard to get our boat worked on, and we had been in the shipyard like 7 days. So I had got tired of sitting on the boat, and my captain told me just walk around, the area and stretch my legs. So the man that was overworking this had came to get me, and I went on the boat, and he had hit me with a simple escape, but I was still on the premises.
Right.
Yes, ma'am.
Right. And your captain wrote him a letter saying he had given you permission to walk around.
Yes, ma'am.
But they removed you from the work release program.
Yes, ma'am.
And they told you couldn't go back. You weren't eligible anymore for work release.
No, I just was waiting until I had, I guess, beat the charge, and I had threw the charge out, and I just been waiting.
Well, waiting for what to happen?
I guess them put me back in work release.
Have any reason to believe that they would put you back in work release? You might help.
I had been talking to my captain. He told me I had still had a job or whatever when I get out, or did they bring me back?
Mm-hmm.
They put them back.
Okay. So you think you might go back to the work release program?
I'm hoping so.
Did you learn how to do anything in that program that you didn't already know how to do?
Yes, ma'am.
You learned.
Ma'am?
What kind of skills did you learn in the work release program?
Well, I learned how to clean the motors and stuff on the boat, change the oil. Really a lot of stuff.
Well, if you were to be granted early release, you're going to get out in March of next year regardless. But if you were to be granted early release, where would you work and where would you live? How would you support yourself?
Well, I was going back to get my job. He said I can come back and get my job. All I got to do is just get my TWIC card, and I was going to move with my sister until I be able to get on my own.
Where did your sister live?
In Hammond.
And where's the boat job?
In the class.
Okay. Do you have transportation
Yes, ma'am.
of your own, or would you have to depend on someone else to?
No, my cars had set up while I was in jail, so I still got them.
How many cars you got?
2.
What kind of cars are they?
A cheap Jeep Cherokee, a 99, and a 99 Lexus.
Okay. Warden, is there anything you can tell us about Mr. Clark?
Ms. Jackson, I can confirm, the write-up was dismissed related to the incident at the work release. The hearing looked like was concluded on April 29th, so we're only a couple of weeks removed from the write-up, which is, I think, what he's referencing. There hasn't been a whole lot of time to have those discussions about him going back to work release and getting all of those situations resolved. He's only been at Hunt since April 4th. He is in our reception center population. They did transfer him here, and we held court here on him regarding this incident. Since he's been here, he's been very quiet. We have no issues with him. he hasn't received any additional write-ups since being at Hunt.
Okay. Mr. Clark, if they would allow you back into the work program, is that what you would like to do?
Yeah, if I couldn't get granted, I would like to go back.
And when's the last time you talked to the captain, or when did the captain tell you?
When I had went to, what that is, a DB court, when I went for the charge, for the disciplinary, court.
He wrote a letter, or he came, or how do you know?
He had talked to I had gave the lady that was going to, the court, I had gave her his number, and she had called him and talked to him.
And he said that he would hire you on?
Yeah, say I still have my job. And if I get out, I can still come back to the boat.
Well, what could you tell us to make us believe that if this job didn't work out or something else happened, that you wouldn't go back to drug dealing?
Ma'am, well, this is the longest I ever been in jail, and I really learned my lesson. I ain't gonna lie. I feel like I've been punished for it.
Did you learn?
The jail ain't for me. Like, and if I can, do it all over, I wouldn't make the mistakes again.
How do you think your selling drugs affected other people's lives?
Well, probably bad.
How do you feel about the fact that you are helping people be drug addicts?
I feel really bad.
You want to add anything else to that?
Well, I just feel like I'm being punished for it.
Think you should be punished for it?
I think I'm being punished for it.
Think you should be punished for it?
Well, yes, ma'am.
You know, drugs destroy a lot of people's lives.
Yes, ma'am.
You know, not just the person who's using the drug, but their children, if they have children. They're not very good parents to their children. You know, a lot of times the grandparents who should be enjoying their later years have to raise the children of their addicted children. You know, there's a lot of really bad things that happen when people become addicted to drugs, and you are helping them do that just so you can have some money. You think that was the right thing to do?
No, ma'am.
So what happens if the bar jobs for some reason doesn't work out? Then what do you plan to do to support yourself?
Well, if it didn't work out, I was getting receiving a SSI check. I probably was gonna go try to get it back on, but I think I like the boat, so it should work out.
All right. Well, thank you, Mr. Clark. That's all I have.
Thank you, Mr. Jackson. Mr. Clark, have you ever had any other jobs besides the one you do in work release? When you were out, have you ever worked any other jobs?
Yeah, I was working at the horse farm right before I had caught this charge.
I'm talking about on the outside.
That's what I'm talking about.
Okay. And how long did you do that?
For a year.
All right. That's all the questions I have. Is there anything you'd like to say, Mr. Clark, before the panel votes?
Well, I just like to say I'm sorry, and in the families that I heard it, I'm sorry, and I guess I'm being punished for it.
Thank you.
behind. Mr. Clark, you're a third offender. You've served about a third of your 10-year sentence. You haven't done very well on previous times that you've been on supervision. I do acknowledge there was one time that you did you weren't revoked, but on the other two times you were revoked. This is a tough one, Mr. Clark. I'd like to see you go back to the transitional work program, but I don't know if that, I don't know if they'll allow you to do that or if something will happen to make it. I think you need the stability of a job. I think you have learned some things from the job.
Yes, ma'am.
You've got opposition from law enforcement and the judge. I just feel like the best place for you is to be where you are and to continue in the transitional work release program.
Yes, ma'am.
So my vote today would be to deny your request because of your past supervision history, your poor supervision history, and law enforcement opposition. So my vote today is to deny, but I hope that they put you back in the transition job. I think you'll do well there, and I think that's the best thing for you to see. And I'm just one vote.
Thank you, Mr. Jackson. Mr. Freeman.
Clark, I think your main problem was the drugs. I think you probably used a little bit more drugs than you said. And my vote is going to be to grant conditional upon you going to complete that Steve Hall program. You have never taken long-term treatment. And I think that's what you need, a 6 to 9 month treatment. And that would be my vote.
Thank you. Mr. Clark, you said 2 or 3 times, and it just sort of resonated with me, that you're being punished. You're being punished. And I think what I'm hearing is that you feel like this is perhaps unfair to you to be in prison, or simply to be in prison locked away is sufficient. I just wonder if you're taking advantage of the programs that have been offered to you and available to you. You indicate that, I'm not so sure that you really accept the significance of what you did. When Ms. Jackson asked you about your sister and your sister's cocaine addiction, I don't know that you really ever thought before about what your drug dealing did to people. And if you did, I don't know that you've come to grips with how powerful that is. I believe the transitional work program is excellent for you. I think that if you can maintain that job, work there, and then once you're ultimately released, keep that job. You can drive from Hammond to La Crosse to keep that job. Perhaps that's what you need. Sounds like it's a job that you enjoy. You've learned a lot for, and it seems that you've never had a real job that you thoroughly enjoyed that made you a little bit of money that kept you away from dealing drugs. My vote today is likewise to deny, but to hoping that you get back into that transitional work release program, and then perhaps the next time you apply, maybe you might have a little different attitude about why you're in prison and what your drug dealing did to other people, and a better plan. So you have 2 votes to deny, 1 vote to conditionally grant your parole has been denied today. But with encouragement of reapplying as soon as you're able to again. So good luck to us.
We can get him in that police program.
The time is 9:56. We'll close out at the Hunt Correctional Center. Warden, thank you very much for your help.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Be sure to comment down below. I would love to hear your thoughts.